Okay, so here we go.
So ADHD has got three main components: excessive inattention, hyperactivity, by which I mean really just kind of being fidgety, and impulsivity. When I first started getting involved in this field, the proportion of girls to boys who were diagnosed with ADHD were 1 compared to 4 boys. So it was much more commonly diagnosed. I think that the rates of diagnosis are increasing with girls though, because people have become more aware of this issue of the inattentive presentation. Girls do tend to internalise things more. I suspect are more likely to blame themselves in this situation.
Less allowed to be messy and like quirky. Whenever I did something too hyper, I felt like I was more told off than my male peers for doing the same thing.
To be honest, it frustrates me because I feel like the signs were just completely there.
For me, I don't really have a sense of balance, not like physically but mentally, in terms of like I'll be on a high or a low and I can't really do just a normal day with chores and all of the simple stuff.
Everything's always been at the last minute. I'm very like immediate gratification, don't want to do it. I'm not very good at thinking long term either, so I'm like, oh, that's like future Hannah's problem.
I will literally be sitting in class, think about nothing, and then I'll realise that I've missed like half a lesson just because I've been like staring into space. It's kind of crazy, and then I would constantly be like, oh, I can't zone out again, and then I would zone out because I was thinking so hard about not zoning out.
My strongest advice is to avoid the temptation of thinking, oh, isn't she a sweet girl who's just a bit dreamy? Because if they are just a bit dreamy, they are not paying attention and they're going to be missing out. The teachers is to really pay attention to it, to try and work out whether that child is struggling to remain focused.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teachers, when I've said I can't do something or I haven't finished a piece of work when I usually do, have just completely not understood why I haven't achieved what they expected of me. And it's because they don't really take the time to know me properly. And I think I'm actually quite sensitive about it now, people understanding me, because I've been misunderstood my whole life.
Like, I love learning and I love people, and so I never had a problem with school. Like, it was never... When I stopped going to school, or was going less and less, it wasn't because people always thought, oh, you really don't like it. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is I can't do it.
It's the cause of my anxiety and depression. And I think for a lot of teenage girls especially, they discover their ADHD through having a mental breakdown. Teachers should be more like willing to look at girls like me, because yes, I get good grades, yes, I'm quiet and I behave myself, but that does not mean I'm okay.
Because I was like, you know, everyone else can do these stupid little tiny things, like wake up on time and just, you know, not lose things like every single day. And I wasn't able to do it.
I describe it a lot of the time in a way that like my thoughts are like bubbles. Yeah, just the sometimes floating, sometimes more manic, like randomly going random directions and tending to pop easily.
Another analogy I would use is like my brain is like spaghetti, and like taking the medication helps me like straighten out the spaghetti.
Oh, like a pinball machine. I always say that to people because it's the best way it's the best analogy I've come up with. Like, my sister describes me as the dog from Up. You know how it's like just randomly like squirrel. That's whenever I'm getting really distracted, she just says squirrel to me. I'm just a bit kind of, I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah. Having ADHD is like having 20 tabs on your computer all open at once and all at the really loud volume, and you can't distinguish between them.
One of the beauties of ADHD is your mind is full of ideas and bang, they come flashing out. It's about capturing them and being able to take the ideas and run with them and be a completer finisher, or have someone working with who's a completer finisher, so the creativity and the systematic completion of tasks and pieces of work can be actually achieved.
Okay, my final question for you. If you had the choice to take it away, would you?
It's kind of part of my personality a little bit. It's how I learn stuff is so different. I like that I do things a bit skewed. No, I wouldn't.